How are Lulu and Waka?
Well, Waka's in shock. Can't blame him either. And Lulu, well, she's just the same as always.
She's so together. All grown up, I guess.
I guess.
Well, just give me 5 or 6 more years.
This is the Every FNFF podcast, and I have to say, Alex's lighting looks fantastic on this Zoom call. I'm kind of jealous.
It really does.
It really looks really good. I was looking at mine, and like, it looks like I'm wearing a hat of light, and like below it is all shadows. Very unflattering.
Well, you too could be streaming like me, but you won't.
But you won't. How dare you?
Today I realized that you should have different lighting for your green screen than you do for yourself. And I was like, oh, fuck. I have not been doing that. And I've been using a green screen for like months.
Yeah, you can get full light.
Yeah.
Do I need to get a green screen?
I do have this ring light, which is pretty nice. I'm going to point it directly at you guys so Curtis has better lighting.
There we go. Thank you.
This is a really good gag for the medium that we are currently,
yeah, one
utilizing.
stream light over here and one just like a light bulb over here I plugged in, so I don't feel like I'm indoors all day.
Yeah, that's important. It's harder to do this time of year.
Don't spend all your life in an underground temple.
Sometimes you have to run out of that temple and onto the ice, where only good things can happen.
Of course.
So yeah, we're
I'm
escaping.
Alex.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hi, so sorry. I'm Carl. Welcome to the Every FNFF podcast. You just got that joked.
I did. I'm gonna stick with that. That's my name this episode. So what did we do last time? We were escaping from Macalania Temple.
Yeah, the last week was Wedding Crashers with Swan's Egg.
We disappointed Trommel. I'm devastated.
We killed the groom.
We killed the groom.
5 funerals and a wedding or whatever.
Yeah. At least one funeral. Well, I guess there was a bunch because we killed all the Guado like running out of the temple.
Oh yeah, we committed many crimes against the Guado people.
Yeah. Yevin's not gonna like this one.
No, yeah, we leave the temple and we ran up the ramp, fought some Guado, and we find out that our rides were stolen.
Yeah,
probably by those All-Bed. The All-Beds probably came back and stole their rides.
Yeah, unstole their rides from us. Bastards. Yeah, but we can run out onto the Macalania Temple ice, like the frozen lake again.
Yeah,
right?
where we fought the Machina. What was it called?
The crawler.
Yeah. The Shagohod.
Yeah, the Shagohod. We found out that love can bloom on the battlefield, and we're back. And there's another boss.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That pretty much like starts as soon as we run out here too. Like there's very, very little like introduction to it. A little cutscene begins, no words are spoken, and just 2 Guado jump out after us. Yeah. And they just summon this big like Sasquatch.
Yeah, this big Sasquatch Aeon that they summon.
Yeah. But yeah, and then like actually I don't even know if they like summon it. They like jump into the fight and it's almost just like it's just there, like just looking for a fight, and it just arbitrarily picks their side.
I think it just jumps from like the edge of the screen into to join them. It's like they have a friend. He's their bodyguard who's just like, well, shit, we gotta call the sass.
Yeah, you gotta call the sass.
The sass.
Like it's weird because they don't like do anything. They don't motion to it or anything, and it's like not with them. It just jumps in. It's just like arbitrary.
They have like a truce with the race of Sasquatch, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about that. I'm like, yeah, wait, is the Yeti or whatever the fuck like on the side of the Guado? And then I'm like, oh right, they actually do something explicitly that says like, yeah, they're in this together.
Yeah, right.
Which is kind of just like the gimmick of the fight.
It's true. Although I do like to believe that this boss, the Wendigo, is in it just for the love. I think it's just for the love of the game. It's not for money.
Yeah. He's a soul battler.
He looks kind of like Kamari plus the Hulk.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
he's got a lot of hair. It looks kind of just berserked. Well, speaking of berserk,
he's very fuzzy.
We will talk about.
Oh yeah,
he's got some real beefy legs. Like
he is caked up.
Yeah, he could easily like just do squats with like a Mack truck.
Crush walnuts between his glutes.
He can crush Titus like a empty beer can.
But yeah, like you were saying though, there is like a mechanic to show that like the Guado and the Wendigo are like on the same team, right?
Yeah, because
like,
these are the same Guados that we've just like taken down however many waves that we got hit with. Like they're not particularly difficult,
right.
But they get the first move even if you have like Sonic Steel on. And they immediately use that to cast Shell and Protect on the Wendigo.
Yeah, they do. And, like, it already has, like, pretty high stats, too. And so, like, having Shell and Protect on it is just, like, gah. And, like, I didn't know Dispel yet. So, like, that just had to stay on there for a good portion of the fight.
That's the same with me. It just without that, he's got 18,000 fucking HP.
18,000?
So. Yeah.
Lord.
And like all of your attacks, like I'm looking at my screenshots now, and I'm doing Fire with Lulu, and it did like 773 damage. So like nothing at all. Yeah, much like Ned Flanders, nothing at all.
I find that the beginning of this battle is the most rough. Like I was able to take him down on the first try, but I got to a point where I had one character left at like 2 HP kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh my god, because like, so he's berserked, right? Like that's the big part of this. And so like a berserked enemy is faster and does more damage. Now if we're berserked, we're faster, do more damage, but we can't control our inputs. Yeah. But the Wendigo just has physical attacks anyway, so it's just essentially like souped up.
Yeah, pretty much its strategy is to just do an attack anyway. So like it's like it doesn't really need to strategize. Like sometimes it can make sense to like make an enemy that you're fighting like berserked, so that way they can't use their more powerful things. But this is it's just a straight up buff.
User.
Yeah.
Do you know where the name Wendigo comes from?
I think it's a folklore thing in like Native American, I believe.
Yeah,
so like folklore.
The Wendigo is a mythological creature or evil spirit from the folklore of the First Nations Algonquin tribes based in northern forests of Nova Scotia, in Canada, and Wisconsin. Is depicted as a monstrous, malevolent spirit with some characteristics of a human, or as a spirit who has possessed a human being. Its influence is said to invoke acts of murder, insatiable greed, cannibalism, and the cultural taboos against such behaviors.
Yeah, so I think
it's pretty fucked up.
I love the idea that it is a Wisconsinner.
Yeah, don't you know?
Midwestern Nice.
So he's just saying, don't you know? Oh, thank you for casting Shell on me, don't you know?
When it like runs through you and like punches you, it just goes, oh.
I've only been to the Midwest like once. I was on tour. I had a septum ring, so I was getting a lot of like dirty looks. But like, you know, the Midwestern Nice, I guess, where it's like they're nice to your face, but like mean. I forget. I don't know how that works, but
so like when the Wendigo punches you, like it does this, but it's kind of like a clothesline attack. It like runs by you, and so it like runs by you, and it's like, oh, let me just scooch by you here.
Got you there.
Oh, sorry.
But like its physical attack was enough to KO Orin in one hit.
Damn.
So it's a motherfucker. Like you do not want to get hit by this dude, and he's like going every like few turns is his turn. Like, I can't even get a whole party's worth of turns off before it's his turn again when he's berserk. Yeah. So it's just like, my party members are just going to constantly die all the time. Especially for the beginning of this while the Guado were still active.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did you all handle this?
Pretty much what I did was, I had Titus out, so I kind of immediately just started casting haste on, like, the party that I was going to use for the fight. And that ended up being, like, extremely helpful. Because I'm looking at, like, some of the screenshots that I got. And it looks like it didn't have too much of a turn. So it was pretty easy to like cycle in Yuna to heal whenever she needed to. And, you know, just kind of, you know, out damage per second the Wendigo.
So what I found worked for me, like what I did after I fucking was down to one person left. And I was like, oh no. I hasted Yuna. and then started using provoke because Wendigo can be provoked. So I was like, well, as long as Yuna's not getting hit, I don't care who gets hit, because that way at least she can always revive them every turn. Yeah. So like I get at least one turn if I get all my characters at once. And then for the Guado, you can just use Riku to steal from them, and they can't use their high potions and everything on themselves in Wendigo.
Oh, nice.
Beans. I wish I did that.
Yeah, I already forgot about that from last week. But with the Guado, I just had Lulu make short work of them. Just like one level 2 magic, and they were dead. Like I have an overkill on them.
Really?
Yeah.
They weren't actually that difficult or anything, but
I tried using what was the one, I think maybe Asuna from Yuna to try to get rid of Berserk.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
You can get rid of Berserk with it, yes, but you can't get rid of the shell and protect, I think.
Okay, I just did that to get rid of the Berserk, but they immediately cast it again if the Guados are still there.
Yeah.
Right. It's a real pain in the ass.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, to me, the challenge is surviving past the Guado, because as soon as they're done, you can heal Berserk and you can survive. Like, you can make it through. But I did read, so like before I actually did the battle, I cheated a little bit, and I went on and read.
You're off the podcast.
I know. I read the wiki.
You make me sick.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I read the wiki before I actually did the battle, right? Because I was like, well, I've been in this game before. My cred's already done. Like, I know how to do it. But I went to read the wiki, and there was a really crazy strategy that I did not know about. So Ixion, its attack Arrow Spark removes Shell and Protect.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So I used Arrow Spark on Wendigo, and I also had an overdrive with Yuna, so it was like, yo, perfect. Summon Ixion,
Aerosmith,
use Arrow Spark. The next turn, I'm just gonna hit him with the fucking the overdrive, right? Boom, fuck him up. And like, I summoned Ixion, used Arrow Spark, and then he punched Ixion one time and killed it. And I was like,
oh my god.
Well, there goes that.
Did Yuna still have overdrive though?
Nope. That's it.
Yeah. Them's the breaks.
Them's the breaks. Dude, this dude hits like a fucking truck, man. It's insane.
Not like a Shinra truck.
Not like a Shinra trucking Palmer.
No, this one hits to kill.
Did we ever see him again?
I think we do. No, I think we do, and he's like in the board of directors, and he's all fucked
and he's
up.
all silent. He doesn't say anything.
He's got lobotomized or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like because
he's absent.
Because the character model is so weird and blocky, it looks like he's like split in half. The way that I ended up taking him down was after I got him, like I just kind of kept peppering him with spells, and like I had a lot more turns in a row.
To taste.
Dude, I was man, I had it in my head. I was trying to think of something to say.
I kept basting him with different spells and attacks with like, heavier like damage party members like Auron and shit. And I think I also did Auron's one of his overdrives because I have a screenshot of him.
God.
Drinking the pee.
Oh yeah, Auron's drinking the pee.
But once I got him down to like under 10,000 damage, then I brought out Yuna and summoned what's his name, Valfor.
Yeah.
And used Energy Ray and did quad 9 damage and got an overkill on Wendigo.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So you didn't even see the second phase thing?
I don't think so.
Oh boy.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, so once you get him below a certain amount, I think it's like 6,000 HP or something. Like it's relatively low. He puts his arms up in the air and literally does like the come here motion, like this thing, where like the Matrix, like come on, come get some hand motion. He does that and puts his hands up in the air, and he'll counter any attack that you throw at him with just like a fucking one-hit KO.
Damn.
But
why didn't he just do that shit from the start?
Yeah.
I found out he can be threatened, though.
He can be threatened, and I didn't read that on the wiki, but I just tried it. But he can be threatened, and he'll like freeze up, and he can't counterattack if he's in threaten.
Yeah, I mean, if Auron threatens you, what the fuck else are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
You gonna cry?
You're gonna cry. But yeah, I would say like that's pretty much all there is to the boss, I think. But like, damn, this boss kind of hard though. I think this is like the first boss that I've been like, yo, fuck this game. This game is hard.
Good thing, it's just an easy. We just go carry on our way after we're done with them, right?
Yeah, it was a fun fight though. It was one of those fights where I was like, damn, I wish I had the tool set like prior to this fight to be able to handle it better, because like if you could just dispel Shell and Berserk, or Shell and Protect, I mean, like then it's like hell yeah, like you feel like you earned the victory.
Those are good cat names.
Also, Carl, I also drank the piss during this fight.
Hell yeah, I love to drink piss.
And for anybody who like doesn't
definitely don't take that out of context, Alex.
I could drink them forever.
The piss drinking is the RN overdrive.
Ninnies is gonna get me saying I love to drink piss is his new alert. Sorry about that, Curtis. Go ahead.
I was just saying in case anybody forgot or didn't know that the piss drinking thing is the RN overdrive.
It looks. I don't even know what's actually in there. It could just be like whiskey.
I'm gonna assume with everything surrounding Orin, it's probably like ghost juice or something.
I think. I mean,
ectoplasm.
It does come from something. I can't remember what. I think it's either water or alcohol. Yeah, but
shoe puff milk.
What is? I mean, you know what? Shoe puff milk. I'm gonna look it up real.
Is there a lore for this? Do we find out in Kingdom Hearts?
It's hot dog water.
So most importantly, Carl, what are you eating?
Garlic bread.
Garlic bread. I love garlic bread.
I move the mic away from my face when I eat garlic bread.
Yeah, so I looked it up, and there are many. There's many different cultures in the world that uses this. A big part of it is like South American, but it's also in Japanese culture that there will be like floral water that like a shaman or a monk might like take not a drink of, but put in their mouth and then like spray out to like cleanse evil or something like that.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
Like fire
so it makes sense because the attack that he's doing that with is literally called the Banishing Blade. And it's they might do that to banish an evil spirit. They spray the floral water or whatever.
I wonder if that is similar to, there were some like Japanese wrestlers in WWF who like used that as a like finishing
excuse.
As an excuse?
Yeah, just get some
they would use that as an attack. Mist attack. WWF. I don't know what the fuck to... Green Mist. Pro Wrestling.fandom calls it Asian Mist.
Okay.
Which I don't know.
Is this like...
I'm just reading here. I don't know.
So point being that Arn is part of the WWE. And, after we beat Wendigo, as most bosses, we just get like a shit ton of levels. And like, I was just going through my pictures on my Switch, and I like saw where I gained all the levels and got all the experience, and it like gave me a shot of dopamine, and I was like, love to spend all those sphere levels.
Yeah, this is such a satisfying level up system. Like, I know we've said it a ton of times, but like I have like 10 sphere levels on Kamari, and I was just like, ooh.
I know, it feels so good to know you have a bunch of them.
But wait, where are the Pyreflies?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say before we actually get the sphere levels and all of that, there's like a cutscene that happens.
There is.
Mm-hmm. Where we see the Wendigo, and like we defeated it, but it's still standing, and it just kind of like hulks up a little bit, and then does like he just punches the ice and shatters the ground.
Yeah, like the fucking like lake that we're on just completely shatters.
Yeah, and everything fades to white.
Yeah, but like I guess we already knew this because we went into Macalania Temple. But, like, the lake is quote-unquote frozen, but it's not really a lake. There's no water under it.
Yeah.
It's just, like, an open expanse. I was like, I don't know if that's how, like, frozen lakes work.
Like, there's gotta be a term for this type of structure. It's like an igloo. It's like we're on the top of an igloo, like...
No, we're on the upper plate, and we just beat Airbuster.
That rotten pizza.
And now we're on the lower plate.
Yeah.
So I didn't get any drops from it, and I read that this is like the only boss that just does not guarantee any drops. There's a 50% chance of getting it, so I didn't get anything.
I got ability spheres and power spheres, but nothing else.
Same.
Yeah. Damn. Can it drop anything good?
I don't know, but I can find out.
I wonder if it like has a thing that like would be very helpful if you get the rare drop. But hate to see you leave, but love to Wendigo.
It can drop weapons with piercing and counterattack abilities on them, or armor with SOS haste on it.
That's really fucking good.
Yeah. Well, you got to be an SOS to use it, so.
Oh, that's not as good.
Not as good, because, yeah, I would just want to not be an SOS more than
I would
want to be
simply just
hasted.
not be an SOS.
So the Wendigo's still alive. Do we get to see him again later?
Probably.
It doesn't look like it.
I mean, I don't know that the Wendigo's still alive. I mean, we didn't maybe explicitly kill it ourselves, but it's a big drop.
We knocked him onto his back, and then we did it, and then he came back up, and
Stomped us through the ice.
he didn't get pyroflied, so he could be still
No.
around. You know how
He
it
doesn't
goes.
need to be sent.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, so like that begins a cutscene here, right? Like you're saying, it fades to white.
Yeah.
So when it fades back up, we hear some narration from Titus, and he's like,
Praise be to Yevon. That's what I would have said, if I was a follower of Yevon. We were all there, and in one piece. Even if I had a headache from wondering what was in store for us next.
and he wakes up, and he's like in a, how would you say this? It's like ruins, maybe? Like some ruins underneath the ice.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't seem like they're expansive or anything, right? Like, just kind of walking around this area, it's not very big. There's only a couple buildings and then nothing else around, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's kind of like interesting. It's a very small ruins.
It's pretty boring.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can still see the temple that we just came from down there, or from down there, but above us. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, as a matter of fact, the very first thing that we can do is talk to Lulu,
We're under the lake ice, aren't we?
and she'll turn around and be like, oh yeah, look, you can see Macalania Temple. So you can see that you've fallen under.
An interesting thing about that, too, is we get a prompt where we can say maybe or who knows, but I think either way, whatever you say, she says the same thing. I don't think there's a difference,
Interesting.
which is kind of weird.
You can just look smart or not. Maybe it like is a relationship mechanic thing.
That's what I was thinking. That's my only... I said who knows because it makes Titus sound like an idiot.
If you talk to Orin, like Orin says, what now, I wonder? And like Titus gives him shit. He's like, what now? You act first and think later, don't you? And I was like, I don't know, man. Orin seems like he's been the most calculated person the whole game. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
especially
not
because
sure
like
your insult
it's,
really works here.
yeah, and it's fucking Titus saying that. Like that's his thing. Is like he's like, oh, I'm just gonna act.
Yeah. And he
I'm just
literally
gonna run into the chamber of the faith, and then whatever happens,
Yeah.
who cares?
And he literally says, can't you be a little more responsible? We're all depending on you. And like, responsible? Titus, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, dude.
Like, he was winning big points for me, and now he's like,
Yeah, this whole interaction
Shut
is
up.
very weird. Like I guess I kind of get where Titus is coming from, but I'm like, what fuck? Have you been paying attention at all to anything that's going on?
yeah.
Get Corey on the phone. What's the Japanese one saying?
Yeah. You remember when, if we got the Orin snowmobile ride, he like gives Titus a piece of advice and then immediately gives him the opposite piece of advice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, this next thing that Orin says is that again, where he says,
You should place trust in your friends, but you can't expect someone to protect you all the time.
and it's like, well, what do you want?
Yeah.
Do you want me to trust you guys more or not? So, I don't know.
And Titus is like, yeah, is that a lecture? And Orin's like, it's advice.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Orin beforehand, when Titus gives him shit, Orin's like, oh, are you lecturing me? Yeah, and then Titus is like, oh, well, you're lecturing me.
Yeah. Oh, you're lecturing me?
Yeah. I like that we go up to Waka and we're like, hey, Waka, cheer up. It's fine. We only did what we had to do. And like, Waka's having a full-on fucking panic attack. He's like freaking out. He's like, oh my god, it doesn't matter. I've always walked the path of Yevon, but now I'm a traitor. How could this happen? And he like punches a wall and he's like, damn. And then he like looks at Riku and he's like getting ready to say something about Riku, and Titus cuts him off and he just goes, it's not Riku's fault either. And Waka just turns around and says, you don't know how I feel.
Oh, and if you talk to him again, he says, I wonder what the Aurochs are doing now.
Yeah, which they're probably still in that fucking locker room. They live there now.
Yeah, they're just hanging out. If you talk to Arin again, he says young summoners are magnets for trouble, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I like that.
And then if you talk to him again, he says the hymn, which is pretty.
Oh, yeah. Currently, right now,
Oh.
we are hearing the hymn currently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
we
true.
would normally
Pop.
be hearing in the, when we, outside the chambers of the faith and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wah,
So I guess
wah,
like-
wah, wah.
Yeah.
Wah wah
Wah, wah,
gobbler.
Gobbler.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash and young Crosby.
I like that when you talk to Riku, she asks how Lulu and Waka are, and like I at least appreciate of Riku that like Waka's been a fucking total asshole to her, and she's still like, oh, is he all right? How's he doing? Like she still has concern for him, so like Riku's the bigger person by far here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that also her asking about Lulu kind of leads to a little bit more as well.
Boy, yeah.
Because Titus is like, well, you know, Waka's in shock, but you can't blame him. And Lulu, she's just the same as always. And Riku's like, oh, so she's so together, all grown up, I guess. And Titus is like, yeah, I guess. And she's like, well, just give me 5 or 6 more years, and does like a cute little pose thing. And then Titus like tries changing the subject, and he goes,
So, Kamari, how do we get out of here?
Hey, don't change the subject.
Yeah. Yeah, Kamari just says, we climb.
We climb.
And Riku's mad at it. She goes, oh, Kamari too, stop it. Like,
even Kamari's changing the subject on me. I get no respect here.
But then I like that Kamari just says, only those who try will become. And I was like, fuck yeah, Kamari rules.
That's a really good line.
I know. Titus says, I think he means you have to work hard if you want to be like Lulu. She's like,
And
I
Riku's
will.
like, oh, I will. And I love that Kamari next says, Kimari think Riku should stay Riku. And she's like, huh, are you saying that I'll never be like Lulu? Kimari. And then like,
yeah, and everybody
laughs.
laughs. They have like a little like the end of like a soap opera or sitcom. The end of a sitcom laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, Kimari.
And Waka completely like Kramer's in again. It's like, how can you laugh at a time like this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
anti-Kramer,
he's so
where he's
upset.
trying to stop the jokes and not bring the jokes.
Right.
There you go.
He's still sliding in.
yeah.
Unwelcome guest.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know, I guess we forgot to mention that she's out right now.
She's
Oh,
like
yeah,
on
we didn't
like
mention that.
like a picnic table. There's just like
Yeah, she's on, like,
a stone slab thing that like it kind of looks, I don't know, like an altar.
Yeah, we should say these ruins are like full of water because underneath like Macalania is a like, how do I put this? Lake Macalania is under the ice, and then down another several hundred feet is where the water is, right?
Yeah, it's
so
it's just the low tide season or whatever. Who
yeah.
knows?
Yeah,
So these
the
are, like,
famous low
ruins.
tides of the lake.
So these ruins are like partially submerged. Like when we're walking around, we're kind of like in a foot of water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Yuna's passed out, so they have her up on something like a piece of wood or something. So at least she's not just like in the water.
It's like the end of Titanic.
Yeah, she's on the door, floating. Yeah. While Titus sinks into the ocean.
Yeah, they throw the they throw the materia of the ocean into the sea.
Much
Yeah.
like in the end of Titanic, Yuna uses her whistle that was established earlier to signal the help boats.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, like a cutscene begins here, right?
Yuna's waking up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yuna wakes up after Waka runs in and does his little thing. And Titus says, Yuna. And she starts giving us like a little bit of background about what just happened, I guess. Because like we've discussed it. It's been very odd, like all the stuff about Yuna where she's like, no, I'm not going to marry Maester Seymour. No, I am going to marry Maester Seymour. No, I need to talk to him about this. Like, it's been a little weird and a little shady, and she hasn't really talked to
Very
us
will
about
they
it,
won't
right?
they sitcom.
She says,
I wanted to confront Maester Seymour about his father, Lord Giskel. I wanted to convince him to turn himself in to Yevon's judgment.
and Lulu says, oh, in exchange for marriage? And Yuna said, yes, if that's what it took. And so,
You're
like,
still good at him. I feel it.
yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah. I guess she was like trying to use her marriage as a bargaining chip, which seems like a real weird one.
Maybe just trying to
Like, you should turn yourself in for this crime.
I think in a similar way, like Seymour was kind of trying to do that as well, like using bargaining chips to get married to Yuna, you know what I mean? So she was like, okay, well, I can invert this to maybe try and bring about justice for Lord Giskel and have Seymour actually like...
Yeah.
I think it was more so about justice than it was about like anything else. She's like, this is the right thing to do, is for Seymour to not just get away with this. And how can I do it in a peaceful way?
It just seems like a very weird idea to me because, like,
Sure.
what exactly are you holding over Seymour's head? Like, if you don't turn yourself in, then I'm not going to marry you, and you'll be, you know, exactly as powerful as you are right now.
Yeah, or
you'll
the
literally
other thing,
have like no negative things.
or like, yeah, I will then tell everyone that you killed your father, and it's like, well, so my options are, I either turn myself in or you rat me out anyway. Like,
yeah, right. So like,
he's trying to trap. I guess she's trying to trap him in kind of an emotional, like, I don't know, corner, right?
yeah.
Seymour has not emotions.
It's like, you can't just kill your own wife. What are you gonna do?
what are you gonna? You wouldn't do it. But Titus says, so what did Seymour say? And
I'll send your ass right here.
Eunice says, he didn't say anything. Now I don't even think it was worth it. I should have told you what I was going to do. And Orange says, enough. Dwelling in the past is futile. That's cool. I like that Orange just like...
Yo, it's kind of super fucked up.
Oh, yeah?
Well, no, I love that Oren says that. Like, Oren's like, yeah, like, we have more important shit to worry about now, so there's no point in dwelling on, like, what could have happened or whatever. Like, I totally love that. But,
exactly.
How fucked up of Seymour is it? Like, obviously it's Seymour, so it's going to be fucked up no matter what, but, like, she, like, brings this, like, earth-shattering news to him, like, that, she's like, hey, I know your fucking secret, and, like, this is how shit's got to go down, and he was just like, pretend like he didn't hear it or something. Like, he's just like,
didn't say
if I don't have this conversation, like, oh, me and my wife are not going to be in a fight if she found out I did something wrong, and then I just don't talk about it. Yeah, like, I'm just not going to talk about it. Like, that's really fucked up and manipulative.
It's only illegal if you talk about it. You have to just ignore it. Remember that the next time you get pulled over, you can just not talk to the cop and just slowly drive away.
Yeah, you don't even have to say you plead the fifth. You just do that and don't talk to them, and you're fine.
And then drive away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most important part. That's the most important part of pleading the fifth, is not saying anything and then just leaving.
Riku kind of gets mad at Oren, though, and says, hey, you don't have to say it like that. And, like, I guess maybe it's, like, his wording, where he's like, oh, it's futile to worry about this shit. And Oren says,
you want to waste time listening to her regrets?
You don't have to say it like that.
like twice in a row. And he says, our immediate concern is Yuna's pilgrimage. Are you willing to go on? And she just says, yes. And I love that he's so fucking focused. It's like, we just killed one of the maesters of Yevon, and he's just like, I don't give a fuck. Are we still going to go beat Sin? Like, who fucking cares about this other stuff? And
the
it's like,
show
dude,
must go on.
we killed the Pope.
Yeah, it's immensely more complicated than it was 10 minutes ago, but, like, we still need to fucking try and make it happen.
Right. And Yuna says, but then do you think Yevon will allow it? Which is a good point I was thinking about, because, like, there have been, like, Yevon guards and, like, temple priests in every single temple. And so, like, if we're still going to do the pilgrimage, like, are we just going to have to bust our way into every single temple from now on?
Yeah.
Just sneak our way in, little, like, Mission Impossible style.
Yeah, it becomes Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, right. We lower Yuna down into the Chamber of the Faith, like one of those motion detector rooms.
Are we even stealing anything?
There's
I guess
lasers.
you're just leaving with an Aeon.
Leaving with an Aeon. We're stealing the Faith's blessing. We're gonna fucking really Ocean's 13 it. Ocean's 11 it? Which was the original one?
Ocean's 1.
No,
Ocean, the motion picture.
Just Ocean, yeah.
It's Ocean's 13, Lightning Returns.
Oren says, the Faith are the ones that give power to the summoners, not the temples or teachings. So if the temples try to stop us, we'll defy Yevon if we must. And, like, multiple people in the group are like, oh shit, like, Titus says whoa, and Riku says, I can't believe you just said that. Like, so he, like, openly has just declared, like, yo, if Yevon tries to stop us, we will fuck them up.
I'll pray if I want.
I fucking love that so much.
Dude, it's so good. I love
Arn's
that
like, I will punch a nun in the face if I have to.
What was that tweet that came out recently? Is like, me and 90% other Catholics cannot stand with the Pope because he was, like, siding with, like, against this current Supreme Court, like, pick or whatever. And, like, all these Catholics were coming out, like, against the Pope. I think.
Catholics against the Pope. Catholics against the Pope, if it was an acronym, would be CATP.
Have you guys seen recently that like the Catholic Church is doing an investigation of the Pope because the Pope account on Instagram liked a picture of like a model in a bikini? So there's like a legitimate like investigation happening now.
Finally, we have cool Pope.
He was a bouncer at a fucking club, I think. Like literally. Like,
yeah, I think so.
He can be cool. He can chill. He can fuck.
I was thinking about it.
This Pope can fuck.
I was thinking about it of the fake Pope from The Simpsons, where it was just like a throwaway newscast. It's like, you can tell the phony Pope by his foul language and his sneakers.
Yeah, right.
It's like a guy impersonating the Pope.
God, that's such a good line. Anyway, but yeah, everybody's like freaking out that Orin just like has like not declared war on Yevon, but literally has just been like, I don't give a shit. Like, if they try to stop us,
with me. I've got the power of anime and God on my side.
Yeah, right. And like everybody's like kind of still, and they're all like very surprised, but they're like, oh, but Waka literally just says, count me out. We have to atone to make up for the sins we've committed. Of course, it's not like I liked Master Seymour either. No way I'll ever forgive him for killing Lord Jiskel, and for trying to do us in too. But still, the bunch of us going against Yevon, no way. And so, like, Waka's not in. He's not in.
Waka does not want to attack and dethrone Yevon.
Yeah.
Everyone else seems to be pretty on board for that.
Waka. This is like the fucking... this is the pit of Waka for me. He's, like, hitting the lowest point. Yeah.
I mean, again, I get it, but...
I get it, yeah. But,
like, dude, come on. Come on, be cool. Everyone else thinks it's cool to kill God.
Well, then everybody has the weirdest fucking idea to me. Like, starting with the next line, where Lulu's like, oh, we've transgressed and must face our punishment. And Yuna says, we must go to Bevel. And I was like, no, we mustn't go to Bevel. That's the one place we mustn't go, is Bevel. Yeah. Like, I'd be like, I did an illegal thing. So what I'm going to do is go to the police station and fight all of the cops. And if I win, they just let me go. Like,
I mean, that's a pretty good strategy. Didn't that work in Minnesota?
It's going to be some national treasure type shit. Yeah. Like, I'm going to kidnap the Maester of Spira.
Yeah. I was just like, wait, you're going to go say sorry, but also threaten them at the same time? It's like, hey, man, I'm really sorry for killing the Pope, but I will do it again. Now let me walk out of here free.
I think Yuna's plan here is like, okay, like, this looks really bad, and if we just ditch, like, it looks even worse, and, like,
yeah,
you know, the Guado are already spinning it the way that they are perceiving it, where they're like, we are in the wrong, we killed Seymour, which obviously we did. I think it's more like, okay, I need to get access to these temples still so that I can get to the cloisters and to the Chamber of the Faith, so I can finish this pilgrimage, which is like the most important thing.
That's true.
I should probably go and explain myself to everyone so that they can realize that it's all a misunderstanding and Seymour is still dead.
Yeah, right. And there is literally a
she just wants
faith
to
in Bevel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, she says we must. I mean, she literally says what you just said. Yeah, we must speak with Maester Micah, and explain what has happened. There is no other way, I think. And like, Waka's cool with that. He's like, oh yeah, going to church, love that.
Get to meet the other Pope? Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I like that Orin's just chill with it. He's like, so it's decided. And Yuna says, will you come with us? And he goes, I am the troublemaker after all. And Titus is like, yeah, that's right. Shut up, Titus. You're the troublemaker.
Yeah, seriously.
First of all.
You can always count on Orin to complicate things.
Can you count on Orin to complicate things?
No, you can count on Orin to fucking, like, just go with the flow when things are complicated, which he will be like, this sucks, this is getting way out of control, but we still got to do it, which he's doing right now.
Yeah.
It's not his fault.
Everybody, like, dunks on him a little bit. Riku's like, oh, Kamari roars, Orin runs off, and
Yuna dances.
And Yuna dances. Orin says, I never asked you to follow me. And then Titus says, that's what friends are for. And then fucking...
Bling.
So it's very cute. They all,
yeah,
you know, have
friendship
a good laugh.
will save us from committing murder crime against.
That's right, right. You have dialed regicide. If you know the name of the king or queen being murdered, press 1.
I was trying to think of what the term was, because there was I knew there was a more academic term, which is regicide, and I was just like, I forget what dumb shit I said, but
and then like it literally, like, the scene literally ends in the camera like panning upwards, and like you hear the team laughing, like it's ha ha ha, you know, like another like fucking sitcom ending laugh. And then as the camera goes off, Walker just says,
"Man, how can you all act like nothing's wrong? Must got nerves of steel or something."
And like that's the end of the scene.
Hell yeah.
But so we're stuck down here in this little in these aquatic ruins,
in this ice comb.
Yeah, for the time being. You think we should take like a little break and maybe regain some of our strength before we try to climb out of here?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
All right.
So we're not on the high wind.
No, we are.
We're actually quite on the low.
On the low water.
Lake.
There you go.
Wait, that doesn't really work because it's earth, wind, and fire, and they don't have water.
Speaking of, it's very smoky in here.
It is. I would call it foggy, possibly.
It's a little misty.
It's, yes, someone should crack a window.
It's just the PS2 graphics. They couldn't render the things this beautifully, so they had to have a little bit of fog.
Like, I'm looking at my screenshots, and I thought that they were like unaccessible because they're all faded, but it's because there's just a mist filter over everything.
Yeah. You know that we're still in bad times because if you go to the save sphere, you can't play Blitzball still.
Yeah,
so,
still a bummer.
Still
we call
bad
this
times.
AB.
After Blitzball.
Oh.
ABB. ABBB. The extra B is for BYOBB.
What's that extra B for?
That was a typo. I was kind of looking around the sphere grid a little bit more, just because we had all those levels and stuff. I didn't really get anything too amazing. I think I still don't have Threaten and stuff, and I'm not quite there yet with Arin. But I did notice that with Riku, I am very close to being able to access Holy, and I was like, ooh, I want to get that. The only problem is it's behind a level 3 lock. So I was like, well, so much for that, I guess.
Sephiroth prevails.
You know what I thought about? I thought about actually just like leaving Riku here, like on the sphere grid, and just waiting until I get a level 3 sphere lock or whatever. Because I was like, well, it'll be fine, because then I'll just have all those sphere levels built up and I can just truck right along. She'll just have to be weak for a while. And like, I don't think it's too far in the game until we get our first one, I think.
Yeah, so. I was kind of tempted to do that as well, but I'm also like, well, I could probably just grind and backtrack because, like, I think we talked about this in the first episode that we did the sphere grid with. When you go backwards, I think it's like you have to go 4 spaces to use up 1 sphere level, I think is the math on it. So, like, you can make some pretty good ground there and back. Like, it is, you know, not optimal and stuff, but
right.
The only reason I'm not going to do that is because I would much rather have Mug than I would Holy right now.
Yeah, same. And also, like, Riku doesn't have, like, the best magic attack as well. So, like, it would be kind of gimped as it was, you know?
I was kind of thinking of it as, like, oh, well, I can unlock this with Riku, and then maybe, much like the black... else. Or, like, the black magic sphere that we got. Like, if we get a white magic one of that, then I can just teach it to someone else
do we have a black magic sphere now?
Yeah, we did last episode, I think.
Oh, did
After we beat Seymour, we got one.
Oh, boy. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. That means we can just learn any black magic.
Yeah, so get me a level 4 unlock so I can get fucking Ultima.
Yeah. But like you were saying, Alex, like the Hymn of the Faith is playing this whole time. The Halo intro from the original Xbox game. And Yuna's kind of standing on our way to the rest of the party. So we have to talk to her first. And speaking of the Hymn of the Faith, Titus says, "Is that coming from the temple?" And she says, "Yes, it is Yevon's gift. It soothes the heart of the faithful." Like, I guess, man. If you say so. And then we gotta get to walk around and talk to all of our party members if we want. There are some treasure chests that are kind of like out of the way. Like they're like behind stuff. So we can't really see them. Yeah. But I got an Avenger, which just has counterattack for Auron.
Hell yeah.
So Yeah,
oh wait, is that for Aaron or is that? I think it was for Titus for me.
I'm sorry, it's for Titus. My mistake.
Yeah. I was like, shit, I would love to have that on Aaron.
Yeah,
like,
my
I'm
mistake.
happy
It
to have
is.
it on Titus as well. But
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it doesn't have any boosts, but it does have counterattack. Like, so it's just built in as a counterattack.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Which is my
real
favorite
nice.
materia.
There's also there's also a level 2 key sphere here as well.
Nice. Would be nice if it was 3.
And then I
but-
talked to Waka next.
Naturally.
I forget who. One of the party members will just send you into the next scene. So I actually remember reloading this like 3 times so that I wouldn't talk to that person first, so I could get everybody's dialogue.
That kind of happened to me last part, which I didn't really talk about, where my move now, ever since Waka's been racist, is to talk to him last. So I just completely missed the part, like, where he was... So, like, I talked to Riku before Waka, and she's like, how's Waka? And he's like, oh, Waka's in shock. I'm like, I mean, I'm just assuming that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I didn't talk to him, like... Because the positioning of everyone is kind of in, like, a sequential order that, like, you're going to walk past someone, so it makes sense that you would talk to them then. But I just missed all his dialogue.
Yeah, well, it's easy to do in this section for real, because like I said, I had to restart it a couple times to get everybody's. So if you talk to Waka, he says,
Say, you feel something weird in the air? Some kind of bad vibes or something?
and I was like, dude, if there's one thing I know, it's vibing. And
Waka's like, yo, Titus, vibe check.
you have a vibe check. You have bad vibes, bro? And you can say yeah or nope. And I said yeah, because I was like, yeah, bad vibes.
Yeah, for sure. The vibes are
bad. Yeah. He says, I thought so. I feel really weird.
Yeah. Apparently, if you say nope, he says, oh, maybe I'm coming down with something. And then he'll also say, I feel really weird. But yeah, like, of course the vibes are bad. We can't play blitzball.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's how I know something's wrong.
That's why he's asking about the Aurochs, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's
Can't check on them, yeah.
We haven't been able to go hang with them in a while.
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's why.
Unless we go all the way back, yeah.
That's why Waka has bad vibes. He just knows. Like, he doesn't access the save sphere, but he knows that command is grayed out. So he's like, oh, something doesn't feel right, man.
Yeah, I can't do blitzball, man. This is fucked.
The fire hydrants here are yellow. This place is starting to freak me out.
If you talk to Lulu, Titus says, who is that singing? Because, like, we know the hymn of the faith, but, like, who is singing? And she, like, explains that, like, oh, yeah, that's the faith itself that's singing. And, like, Titus is like, wait, it can sing? And she says, of course it can. Don't be a fool. And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm with Titus on this one. That sounds crazy. They're like, we haven't seen a faith yet, right?
No, I don't think so.
We've heard about it. We haven't gone in the faith hole yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've only seen Yuna leave the faith hole.
Okay, the faith hole.
We talked to Riku. She says, friends, huh? First time a non-Albed called me that.
Yeah,
very cute.
I will say, if you talk to Lulu again afterwards, she says it feels like the ground is shaking. So, like, multiple bad vibes.
It's just that singing.
Yeah.
Keep it down.
It's that dank bass that the faith is putting out.
I think it's
Subs.
yeah, the subs, yeah. I think it's also the first instance of, like, they're kind of being not like fourth wall breaking, like that's not really what's happening, but it's like the thing that we are hearing that we just expect is like background music, like, you know, like a video game thing of having background music.
Wait, Alex, what's that called? Diabetic music.
Diegetic, yeah. It's explicitly in the game now. Like,
Yeah.
what we are hearing, the characters are also hearing.
Right.
Yeah, so we might have heard of it before. No, yeah, we saw it because when we were besaid for the first time, Titus did mention like that song. I recognize it from my childhood. He says,
Right.
Yes.
So
right.
Remember that?
Yep.
I do now. Sure, that won't come up in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, like, now that I think about it, like, very early on, he says, like, about the hymn of the faith, he's like, oh, I remember that from my childhood. And when he sees the Yevon prayer, he's like, oh, yeah, that's the blitzball symbol. Like, I know that too. So a lot of things around the faith and Yevon, like, Titus is already well familiar with.
Yeah.
How could that be?
How? But how?
But how? And Kamari says this place smell different now. Kamari not know if this is good or bad.
I love that.
And he can still talk to me. He says, Kamari feel no danger. He's fine.
Yeah, he's not afraid of anything.
So I talked to Oren next, and he says Jecht used to sing this song, and Titus just goes, yeah, over and over, but not this good, that's for sure. And Oren says, yeah, there's another trait that you share. I'm like, ooh, God, fucking smoke Titus's ass. And Titus says, what, were you listening? And it like gives us a little flashback. and like Titus is sitting on his yacht house and like humming the hymn of the faith. And while that's happening, you hear...
Well, it's not super young. It's still like...
Yeah.
Looks like the Titus we know. It's
it's like this character model. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see young Titus. Well, anything from a flashback is technically younger, so...
Right.
It's like that Mitch Hedberg joke where he's like, guy came up to me and said, this is a picture of me when I was younger. And I said, motherfucker, every picture of you is a picture of you when you're younger. I would be impressed if you showed me a picture of you when you're older. I'd be like, God damn, let me see that camera.
And Titus, like, so like the speech that we're getting over this is actually like their current day speech. So they're like talking over this flashback image.
And in this flashback, you can hear Titus like humming the hymn of the faith. Which is pretty good.
And Titus says, "Yeesh, can I get a little privacy?" And Orin says, "Your singing reminded me of Spira." And Titus says, "Oh right, you're not originally from Xanarkand, are you? You homesick?" And Orin just goes, "Maybe."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Orin has emotions.
Yeah, and that's an interesting detail, too, that I don't think was ever explicitly pointed out. Like, we knew Auron as one of the first people that we saw. Like, he was one of the first characters that we saw in Xanarkand in Titus's time.
Yeah.
And then he ended up in Spira. And we're like, oh, okay, so, like, I think at this point, like, I just kind of assumed that he was originally from Xanarkand, even though, like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, even though
we see him working for Braska before
Jack shows up. Yeah, which, like, I just didn't... You know, like, I haven't been thinking about that chronology too much, so it's like it's nice that they put this in to like kind of explicitly say that.
Just hammer out the timeline of things.
Yeah, just like The Legend of Zelda.
The details are at least still foggy.
Jax went to Spira, and then Auron, I guess, maybe came back to Xanarkand to kind of check up on Titus and his mom.
Yeah,
as probably a favor for Jax to kind of like keep an eye on my kid,
right,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then he,
and I mean, we've been told so much, right?
Titus back. We don't know how many times Auron has been back, because Auron kind of seems to kind of come and go as he pleases.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That
uncle.
That uncle magic.
That uncle magic. The mystery uncle vibes.
Magic uncle. He's a munkle. Titus says, "Say, how did you get to Xanarkand anyway? Sin?" And like Auron just stays silent, and he just goes, I thought so."
Yeah, which is interesting because I didn't take Auron not responding and saying nothing as like confirmation. Like, yes, that's how I got it. Like, I don't know if that's like a good read on the situation from Titus.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, he's not saying anything, so clearly I'm right about this. It's like Auron's pretty straight up about shit usually. So if he doesn't say
straight up, but he also like doesn't say a lot. Like, he doesn't seem to lie, but he also doesn't actually lay out a lot of his plans and information too, though.
Sure.
So it could be
probably doesn't want to straight out say that he's using sin to traverse between periods, right? Because that would be a fucking big thing to like just admit that you can do.
It does sound weird to go up to a friend and say that I rode your dad last night. So like, he's probably just
got
trying
in
to be
from
polite.
Xanarkand, and boy, is your dad tired.
And then we get some narration from Titus, and he says,
"That proved it. Sin was the link between Xanarkand and Spira, which means if we kill Sin, I'll never be able to go home."
And like, spaghetti-o.
It's like, oh, he finally had one of the realizations that he probably should have thought of a while ago.
This section of the game has been good for building stakes. I feel like there hasn't... Like, there's obviously been a high stake of, like, beating Sin.
Bringing peace to the world, yeah.
Yeah, but at least if we lose, things won't be worse than they currently are. Does that make... You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
It'll still just be the same old, same old. So, like, I feel like the stakes in this game thus far have been, like, kind of chill. Like, you know, it hasn't been that bad. It's just like, well... We'll get to it when we get to it, I guess.
Yeah, like this is a calamity that had been going on well before our time in this world. So like stakes aren't super huge because it's like, oh well, you know, it's the status quo.
Yeah, exactly. Like our failure condition is status quo. But I feel like this puts a little bit of like a personal stake on Titus now.
Yeah, because now it's not just like, oh, the stakes are high, but it also comes with like personal sacrifice.
Right.
Where before it was just like, oh, well, we got to do this because that's, you know, the only way I can get back to Xanarkand is like doing this. And now it's just like, oh, in so doing this, I can no longer accomplish my personal goal. But this is obviously more important than me getting back.
Right. So yeah, now there's this entire like, oh, this cause is larger than me. Like, should I give up my own personal goals for it?
Yeah.
Like now an aspect of it, right?
Which is kind of like what Jecht was saying in the sphere grid, or not the sphere grid, the sphere that we saw and after Sphere Morph.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, better get used to this.
Yeah, and even Orin says that like Jecht learned about the world and then decided not to go back. Like he made a personal choice to not do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the singing stops. The song, the Hymn of the Faith.
Which I should mention, I forgot to turn my music back on. Because when they're saying, you hear that singing? I'm like, oh. I have to go into the settings and like turn on. Because I was recording environment sounds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lulu says that the singing stopped, and all of a sudden, like, there's like an earthquake, right? Like the ground starts moving and shaking and shit. And Waka says, there's something here. And Orin goes, oh, the ground! And then we get a fucking insane shot, and I love it.
It's Wendigo punching the ground again.
That's right. No, we're the ruins that we're standing on. The reason why they don't why they're small and they don't like shoot off in every direction or whatever is because we're on the back of Sin right now.
Oh shit!
Whoops!
I did not put that together.
Yeah, remember how we were always like, oh, Sin has that little like set of towers and like he has like some buildings on his back.
Yeah,
we're in those buildings.
See, I saw. Holy fuck.
So yeah, there's a little FMV, which is a very just ambient, dormant looking kaiju looking thing, which we know more now is Sin.
Yeah, so I feel like this is the first time
flippers and legs.
Yeah, it's like the first time we've seen Sin well enough to like know kind of what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
It looks like one of those legendaries from like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. It looks like
Kyogre or whatever.
Kyogre, yeah.
Yogurt.
He's like Kyogre and Emerald Weapon combined.
Looks like the Windfish from Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Except scary. It looks like the Bloodborne version of the Windfish.
So, speaking of scary and Link's Awakening, I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before. I may have. I did tell this story. Well, fuck it. I'm going to tell it again just in case you didn't listen to that episode. But when I was younger, I had that game for the Game Boy, and you know how you can steal something from the shop?
Oh, yeah.
And if you try to go back to the shop, the shopkeeper shoots you with a laser gun, and he calls you thief. All right, a laser gun. I think he uses electricity or something. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he uses, like, magic.
Anyway, he kills you. When I was younger, I stole something from the shop because my cousin told me that I was able to do it. So I tried, and I did it. And when I went back in...
officers, get him.
Yeah. And he shot me when I came back in. And it scared me so much that I turned the Game Boy off and put it under my bed so I couldn't see it. And I was just like, I don't like it. Like, it was very sad.
Yeah, I remember the first time I did that, and like, you know, you walk around the shopkeeper and he like he looks the other way and stuff, and being like, huh, I wonder if I can do this. And I did it, and I felt so, I was like, I thought I like glitched the game. Yeah. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then when I walked back in and it plays that horrifying music and he has like a scary face and he shoots, I was like, oh my god.
It's so scary.
You know how I reacted to that when I was a kid? In every playthrough I did after that, I just named myself Thief in all caps. So that way, like, it didn't, like, half of the consequences weren't really consequences.
They just validated you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so we're riding on the back of Sin. Like, we fell on top of Sin. And, like, those,
holy shit.
So does the lake just connect to the ocean, I'm guessing?
I guess so. I guess that would have to be the case, wouldn't it? Unless Sin may have like some form of like time and space teleportation or something.
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact, but like we'll get into it here in a second. Like,
yeah, oh yeah, that's a good point as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of just assumed we were at like the bottom of the lake, like we can see the temple off in the distance or whatever, and you know, we were just, you know, on the, you know, wherever the fuck, like just somewhere in the ocean. And then when all the ground was rumbling and stuff, I was just like, oh, Sin is nearby. That's scary.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to tell because they show Sin like in a way that is like very lit from above, so it just looks like Sin's just in the ocean or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not super clear. Like if they did like a quick kind of like, David Fincher-esque like pan down from the top of where they are to underneath the water, it'd be more clear. It's like, oh shit, he's right here.
I mean, put it this way, it's not. The thing is, it's not explicit. I don't feel like, and like you could be right, but what leads me to believe that we are on Sin is like the fact that they were talking about the grounds moving.
Yeah.
Or like the ground. He didn't say it's moving explicitly, but. And the buildings themselves, like in this scene coming up where it's just Titus giving narration, he's like floating around in these towers, and like I think it's the same tower, so I think he's on top of Sin.
You are absolutely right. I just like that it like blew my mind because I 100% believe that that's what's happening right now.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm 95% sure, but there's enough space in there that if somebody was like, "You're definitively wrong, and here's why," I'd be like, "Fair enough."
I like how I've given you at least 5% of doubt by my own stupidity.
And Yuna goes, "Sin," and Lulu says, "The toxin, watch out!" Like you can dodge the toxin, I guess. Like, like what is that? Like little spores
it's
come
like
out
the
or
first
something?
scene in Phantom Menace, like gas.
Oh yeah, that was Sin toxin they were pumping into the room.
That's the only unedited shot in that entire movie, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, there's no visual effects added. It's just the shot of gas coming out of the vents.
Oh, wow.
I like it.
There you go. Don't breathe that.
There's going to be a mini game here where we have to dodge the toxins by waiting for the screen to flash, and then if you get hit by the toxins, it erases your save.
Yeah, like use. I mean, Titus is really good at holding his breath.
Yeah, this is very true. But the screen whites out at this point. And we hear some narration from Titus, and he says, "It was then I knew Sin really was my old man. For the first time, I was finally able to believe it." And
we get like a vision, kind of almost like a point of view.
Yeah.
Of, like Xanarkand and a few other things, like in Titus's past or maybe Jek's past.
Yeah. Well, and as it starts going to those visions, Titus says, "Oh, the song you were listening to. What is it this time?" And like, so I guess Sin was listening to the Hymn of the Faith.
Yeah.
Which maybe makes sense. Because like we know that Jek loves that song, right? Yeah. That he's like, "Oh, yo, this is number one on my playlist. Like this is my party playlist." You like go hang out at like a post-game party with Jek, and he's like, "Listen to this fucking banger." And he just, oh. He's just going hard. He's like moshing to it.
Your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, I guess you weren't ready for it. But yeah, I think that like what's happening is that like I think that Jekt is like somehow through the toxin or whatever showing Titus images, because Titus like talks about these images to Jekt.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe even like in the space that last time we went through Sin, we were kind of in this in-between space for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between arriving in Spear. So I'm wondering if this is just kind of a way of presenting memories like that.
I'm torn between two explanations for it, right? Mm-hmm. Is that like this is part of the travel, like when you travel on Sin or whatever, that like fucking crazy images is what you see? Or is this the toxin? Because like Lulu says, watch out the toxins, and we know that people who are poisoned by it like have visions or aren't there or whatever, or like lose all their memories. Like, are they just experiencing things around Sin? Like, is Sin so powerful that you like take in part of its memories or lack thereof or whatever, and like we're actually seeing that because we're being poisoned by it? I don't know. I think either explanation is probably equally valid.
Yeah.
Is my opinion. So I could be wrong.
Either way, it seems like it is trying to show Titus something, maybe.
Right, yeah. Because we see pictures of Xanarkand, and Titus says...
Oh, in upside down for some reason.
Yeah, it's like upside down, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It's sounding kind of cool, though.
It's like Xanarkand and blitzballs and stuff like that. Like, big lights, big sports.
And it's like blitzballs on like the yacht or whatever, and it kind of like, when I first saw it, I was thinking of like, this is where you learn the Jek shot and you only get like one chance, and I'm like, wait, there's 3 blitzballs there, why does someone else get 3 attempts at learning the Jek shot?
Being like riding on Sin and getting all these visions is a lot like watching ESPN. It's just sports. But Titus says, Xanarkand, are you homesick too?
That's not your world anymore. you're Sin now.
And which is kind of sad. Like he's like admitting that his dad is like past salvation. He's like, yeah, that's not for you anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, this is not my beautiful house.
This is not your beautiful house. And then like very touchingly to me, like he has a vision of Titus as a child. And I was like, oh, Jack never forgot about his son. He still thinks about his son.
Yeah. Also sad.
Also sad. And Titus says,
hey, I'm older now, you know?
And then we go to another vision and we just see the back of Jack. And it's like very fogged out. Like we can barely make him out, right?
Yeah.
And Titus says, I know, you want this to end. I'll find a way, I promise. And it's like, oh, man. Ooh. So, like, some of Jecht is still in there, right?
Right.
I guess we actually don't know to what extent Jecht's in there either.
Don't.
Like,
we
as
don't
far
know
as
how...
we know, he could be 100% in control.
Yeah, this doesn't really answer too many questions, but it is really... It's really fucking cool. I was trying to think of a more articulate way of saying that, but...
It's kind of sad as well.
It's extremely sad, yeah.
Because, like, we at least know enough of Jecht's mind is still in Sin that it can, like, feel sorrow.
Yeah, and it feels, you know, it's very much, like, evoking the acceptance part of, like, the stages of grief. Yeah. Where it's, like, Titus is now accepting that this is, like, his dad or whatever. And, like... Yeah. With all of this with Jecht, it kind of feels like Jecht is also kind of accepting that he has become this monster, this monstrosity.
Yeah, and I think we've been told before that like Sin has been seeking out Titus so that Titus can kill it, like specifically.
Yeah,
like Jecht wants Titus to kill him.
Yeah,
yeah.
So like, maybe he was just down there waiting for him to fall on top of him.
Who knows?
Like, oh, hey, maybe. You're fighting Wendigo. I'll be down here. Like, otherwise, it would just been a splish.
I mean, like, it's come to us before because we've been there
multiple times.
During Operation Meehan, we were like, oh, it came to all the Sin Spawn, right? And like, someone literally, I think it was Oren, was like, no, it didn't come for the Sin Spawn. It came for you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like you're.
And Carl said that Titus is the Sin Spawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also the. Just the kind of thing where it's like we, you know, in terms of like, this is kind of like flipping video game stuff on its face a little bit as well, because it's like, oh, this is a video game. It's a Final Fantasy game. We're going to have to keep fighting this big boss multiple times. We're going to run into it throughout the course of the game and stuff. And like, this actually gives context as to why that's happening.
Right.
Where it's like the first time there was a Sin attack, it was like, oh, it sensed Titus and came to get him, like, and that could be the case for every time. Because I think there was also like discussion about like, oh, well, why is Sin here now? We haven't
heard about any Sin attacks since we've been in Spira that weren't right where we're at. You know, like we know that like Sin attacks happen and they have happened, but as far as we know, since Titus arrived in Spira, the only Sin attacks have been right where Titus
and that's something that you would hear about. Like we heard about other summoners disappearing and stuff like that. Like if there was another Sin attack, that would be...
you would think that they would say something.
Yeah.
So, and it's also interesting, is this the first time that like Sin hasn't caused a ruckus? Like it was just chilling, listening to the Hymn of the Faith.
I think it's the only time that we've seen him.
It had its AirPods in, so it didn't hear us going by.
Yeah, I didn't want to crash the wedding.
Yeah, it was one of the guests. It was just like, I'm no good at weddings. It's like crying. But yeah, like, it's interesting. I feel like...
You get that thing I sent you, kid?
It got something off of your what do they call it? Not a wish list.
Registry?
Registry, yeah. One of the things on the wedding registry is just like mass destruction. Since like, got it.
Ooh, I'll cover that one.
His and hers bath mat.
Yeah, and a bath mat, yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw this scene, I was kind of thinking like with the Hymn of the Faith and everything and all this like back and forth with like Jecht and stuff, I was like, like maybe when the summoners go to the Chamber of the Faith and everything, like maybe like the Song of the Faith, like the Hymn of the Faith is what's keeping Sin at bay from attacking, and like whenever they get like an Aeon or whatever, then the hymn might stop, or you know, for a time. But I don't think that's the case at all, especially after what we just said. But like that was my first thought with it. I'm like, so the song stopped for some reason, and now Sin is like stirring or whatever. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe someone went back for that another Aeon.
Donna.
Well, I think it's rational. I think it tracks.
Does the singing still continue after we get the Aeon, usually in past places?
I think it has, yeah.
That I do
which
not
is the
know.
only thing. Like, I think it's...
Okay, so...
And again, it's like the kind of thing where it's like, are they hearing it or is it just background music?
They just, like, flip it off for the night.
Yeah. Can you clap it on, clap it off?
Yeah, why is the hymn stop?
Oh...
I was just gonna say everyone needs to get a Bluetooth speaker and just be constantly playing Hymn of the Faith to keep sin away.
Yeah, but I think that's where we're gonna end for today. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a pretty short one, but there's a lot to unpack because we got some. Well, I guess we can mention that right after this we wake up.
Oh, should we go ahead and talk about? Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah,
because there is a save sphere in the next room. So, yeah, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and do the scene as well then.
So remember last time? I guess the last 2 times Titus has been sucked up by sin.
Wait, yeah. How many times have we woken up somewhere? Like,
so there was the first time we woke up in those ruins, face down.
Yeah. And then
we woke up outside B-Sade.
Yeah, and
now we're here.
On the Jose shore, and now we have this one.
So wait, with the ruins though, that was
right after we left Xanarkand.
When we woke. Didn't we also wake up on the Albed ship at some point?
Yeah, they knocked us out.
Yeah. I guess that one doesn't really
Riku
count.
brought us there, yeah. But there was Sin did attack though, and the ship, and we did end up in Besaid. I'm not sure if that was just through tides or through Sin that we ended up in Besaid, but
either way, we keep getting fucking wrecked and then waking up in some other location, and like it doesn't stop. We've done it again.
It's a good thing that Titus can swim.
Yeah, and I think that kind of lends more evidence towards what you were saying, Curtis, of like time and space weirdness with sin and teleportation kind of stuff. Because we wake up on a beach.
Well, we also don't know how much time has elapsed. You could just be asleep, and then someone could have.
I suppose so.
Dragged him over there.
But yeah, wake on a beach. Yeah, it's like a very tiny beach, the smallest beach it could be.
Quite a small beach.
Actually, yeah, we're in the water. Like, when he wakes up, he's like face down in the water, and like chokes on the water.
He loves to be face down in the water.
Yeah, if he
no blitz balls.
Yeah,
inside.
if he wasn't able to breathe while sleeping, like the Aurochs were saying, like so long ago, he would have drowned. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if sin has something to do with water now, because spoiler alert, we're in the middle of a freaking like oasis in
a
desert.
Fucking desert that's just desert for every direction forever.
Yeah.
So maybe the Macalania Lake does not actually feed into the ocean, because it seems like sin can just get around any water, or at least send you.
Yeah, right. Which it's like we were like we were saying maybe he does have like some time space powers or some shit, because like there is no water around anywhere except for this little oasis. Like how did I get here? By letting the days go by?
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck y'all.
Yeah, who knows how long it's been.
Letting the water overflow.
Yeah, letting the water hold me in.
I think there is a chest actually right to the that we can find right here though.
Yeah,
there is in the water, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's like under the water. Yeah,
I think this is a few remedies.
Yeah, it's for remedies. I thought you would have to like dive under the water, like that one weird section that
I kept trying to dive under the water too.
I was like, how did I do that again? That was so long ago. And then I just like accidentally opened the chest, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, same.
Cool.
Very same.
Cool. 4 remedies. I've never used a single remedy.
But yeah, on our way up, there's a save sphere right on the shore, and as we're getting up, Titus just pops up and says, "Where am I?" And he turns around facing the water and says,
I forgive you this time. Be good for a while, okay?
Like talking to Sin.
Yeah. It's so like, oh man, our like relationship to Sin has become very weird to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I mean, I guess it always has been familial as long as we've known that it's Jekt, but like the way Titus speaks about it now is very much like you would talk to a person and not a fucking kaiju.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too, because it's like we're not really sure how much like of the shit that Sin is doing is intentional, or I mean, I guess like if Jekt does want Titus to kill him and all of that, he's like, you know, like it's outside of his control to be doing all of this necessarily, but it's like,
yeah, is he sending him? Is Jekt sending Titus where he needs to get strunk?
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Did he send him to be said because like, oh wait, you need to meet a summoner here?
Yeah, this whole game,
you'll need her to kick my ass.
I guess I never really thought about it. How in charge of that is Sin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This whole game is basically just a playable version of the song Boy Named Sue by Johnny Cash.
Yeah, so I guess that's where we'll end it.
I went to Reno.
I shot a man in Spira just to watch him die for his fireflies. But yeah, okay, so that's where we'll actually end it this time.
Yeah, that seems like a good bookend.
Yeah.
So next week, here's the question. Do we do the desert or do we do the desert and home? I think that home is going to be a whole big fucking thing, so we should just do the Sanubia Desert.
Sounds good.
There's a lot of locations to it, so if you're playing along with us, leave yourself some time to actually get through it, because it's kind of big. Kind of big.
Maybe take that time to do a little level grinding.
Ooh, you could. You'll find the sandworms here, so if you have
yeah.
Shooting Star by Oren, go ahead and use that on the sandworms, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
I just used it for the first time. I forgot that Oren is the one who has QuickTime events with
Yep.
the fucking like Konami code type shit.
I saw that you actually input all the buttons for Oren's thing at 0.00 seconds left, like a frame perfect completion
Holy
on
shit.
it.
Yeah. When I was doing it the last time, I can't remember if I talked about it on the last episode or not, but I like mixed up what X and Y are on Switch, and I like on the last input I fucked it up, and then I didn't have enough time to start over, and I was like, God damn it.
Oh no. Yeah, there's like
That always screws me up going between all of the consoles. I'm like, where is
oh
X on
god,
this one?
yeah, right. R.I.P.
You know.
But yeah, we'll get to that next week. And I think that's it. Yeah.
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 Yes.
I have no hilarious stings or anything to say here, so
Yeah. No credit lead-ins.
I can do a credit lead-in. I can always figure out a credit lead-in. That's no problem. Are we ready for it? Or
I'm ready. I have to take a shit, so I'm ready whenever you are.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I'd have a little bit more time to think.
All right, Carl's got to get pizza.
I'm just gonna shit here in this chair. It's fine. You guys aren't here, so you won't have to smell. You won't have to deal with the fallout from it.
I lied. I'm gonna keep this one. I'm gonna keep it dry, dry like a desert.
Woo! But we're in an oasis.
That's kind of an intro. Go ahead, Alex.
Thank you to Night of the Round for the theme music, Nobuo Uematsu, Masashi Hamauzu, and Junya Nakano for the game music. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, rate us on iTunes, you cowards. Where have our reviews been?
Yeah, make another account and rate us again.
Make another iTunes account and rate us again.
Make an iTunes Japan account like Curse does to play Persona in fucking Japanese.
I should do that.
Did you use that account to rate us, though, Curtis?
Well, it wasn't an iTunes account. It was a Sony account.
A likely story.
Call us at 530-MATERIA or find us at every FNFF on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. We have a Redbubble if you want to get some good Aurochs gear. And as always, young podcasters are magnets for trouble.
All right, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.